These lenses were almost a disappointment to me. $2,264 for these lenses, and I can remember spending every dollar. And as soon as I got them, I did what anybody would do when they get new lenses. I slapped them onto my camera, and right out of the gate, I was disappointed. These lenses are blurry. When you open the aperture wide open, they look out of focus, which is why you don't make judgments on your gear based on first impressions. So I proceeded to set up a real camera test to see what these lenses actually perform like on a real set with lighting, with actors, with hair and makeup, with wardrobe. I took these Meike lenses at 4 different focal lengths and wanted to see what they perform like with the aperture wide open. And I'm going to share that information with you. But first, let me tell you about these lenses. These Meike lenses are an affordable set of cinema lenses that you can get in either a Super 35 version or a full frame version. Now, I have the Super 35 version because I knew I would be pairing it with my 6K Pro. I could have future-proofed myself and got the full frame version, that way I can use it on full frame cameras and the Super 35 cameras, but just to be fully transparent, the Super 35s are cheaper than the full frame, so yeah, that was another reason. I have the 25, the 35, the 50, and the 75. They also have the 18 and the 100, which would complete the full set of lenses. Now, why cinema lenses? Well, one of the reasons is uniformity. These are all built and operate the same, so the quality of the lenses is the same. The location of the T-stop ring and the focus ring is the same. The focus throw is the same. The front diameter, the size of the front diameter is the same. This all matters because it optimizes your time on set, so you can go faster. All right, so check this out. Right now I have all 4 of these lenses. They're all the same height. This one's the same height too. This 50 just has an extender on it. So the focus ring is in the same spot. The T-stop ring is in the same spot. The benefit of having this is that if you set your rig, whatever your camera's on and your lenses are on, and you have these lenses attached, so let's say I have the 35 attached, if I want to swap out the 35 and go to the 25, I don't have to do much to my rig. Everything should be set just by setting this one lens. Not gonna have to move my follow focus, right? So it allows me to move faster on set. But not only are they built the same, they have the same look, as in the same image quality. And this is one of the most underrated characteristics of a matching set of lenses that I didn't know about, at least until I started using some. It is so nice to have a set of lenses that look the same across the set. So there's not gonna be, one has a green tint and one has a blue tint, one has a slightly red tint that you gotta try to match when you start bringing them in post-production. You don't have to do that with these lenses. And so they all produce the same look. And what is that look? Well, you're looking at it. So in my opinion, they gave you a nice look right out of the box. Now, of course, you can attach filters. In fact, I do attach a filter to it to modify the lens, but you don't have to. It's still going to produce a nice, soft look right out of the box. Okay, here we go. So the first one we'll start off with, and again, one of the reasons why I'm doing this test is at wide open is because I want to see how this lens performs at maximum aperture and if it's still able to retain its sharpness, which is really important. All right, so the first one that we'll start off with is the 25mm lens at 4 feet away, and right out of the gate you can see that it's not very sharp at all. So that's kind of one of the things that when I first bought these lenses that I noticed, and I was kind of scared a little bit, but it was just a matter of playing with the equipment. And really, if you stop down to like a 2.8, this lens does get sharp, but anything lower than that, it starts to get kind of soft to the point to where it doesn't look like it's in focus. Unless you get to close proximity to your subject, which I'll just show you that here right now. So one of the things that I've noticed with this is the 25mm lens is that it does well wide open at close proximity. So if the camera is, like in this case, 1.5 feet away from the subject, or if the lens is 1.5 feet away from the subject, then the lens is still sharp even if it is wide open. That's just their sweet spot where they function the best to kind of get that close proximity look. But I do know that some of the more expensive lenses don't do that, so you don't have to be right on the subject to get a sharp image, even if the lens is wide open at the maximum aperture. So here's 25mm at 9 feet, I think it was. Yeah, 9 feet away. So again, just the lens it's just not sharp when you start getting that far away from the lens and you have it at the maximum aperture. And you know, I was trying to focus just to make sure that it wasn't me, and it wasn't. So yeah, that's just kind of what this lens gives you. Now this one's the 35mm lens, which I'll just go ahead and tell you, the 35, the 58 and 75 are very sharp. They didn't have the issue, if you're wide open, of being kind of fuzzy. These lenses are beautiful. Right now I'm at the 35 from 6 feet away, and this is actually the focal length that I used in the edit. So we shot on the other lenses. We did takes on the 35, we did takes on the 50, we did takes on the 75, but the 35 was the one that I ended up using for the edit, and part of that was because it fit the story best. Here's the 35 from 9 feet away. Nice, beautiful, sharp, with, you know, sharp for a cinema lens, I'll say that, right? So it still has a soft quality to it. Okay, now we move to the 50, and this first shot is from 9 feet away. She just came in focus right there. And the 50 is that perfect, you know, that perfect focal length. Now you got to remember, this is on a Super 35 sensor, so it's not perfectly a 50mm lens. Again, what I'm looking for is sharpness, and it's there. In fact, I think I was a little off. She sharpens up right about here, somewhere around there. Still a beautiful focal length. Then I pushed in a little more and got the 50 from 6 feet away, which looks good, still sharp, no complaints. And then I pushed in a little more at the 50 from 4 feet away. But again, I'm just looking for the sharpness, and it looks good. And you see what I'm talking about, how it's not super sharp. It's still really soft. Look at the background, how it falls off. It's just really smooth. And then, you know, you put this with the Black Magic, it's gonna color grade nicely. But if you put it with any, you know, any one of these cameras nowadays, it's gonna look really good. The 75 from 6 feet away. So I just swapped the lens out. And again, sharp, looks good. Here's 75 from 9 feet away. And you see how all these focal lengths, you know, all these different lenses, they look the same, right? They all look the same. This is with no color correction, no adjustment, nothing. This is all just right out of the camera, and all of the lenses look pretty much the same. The only one is that 25, and the issue there was just the sharpness with it wide open. But all of these have been the aperture wide open. We're all the way at 2.1, and this is the image that it produces. Hope you enjoyed the review. Don't forget to subscribe. Be blessed, stay inspired, and always shoot for the difference.